radical. Oh, did they make some progress today? Oh. So, I want to talk about the acute radical catastrophe called the Chinook salmon. First came the god of salmon. Then came the god of water. So, the Chinook salmon are such an important species to our ecology, our world. And so, the Nushgak in Alaska, that's the biggest Chinook return of them all. I'll post a link. You look at those numbers. Holy shit. I mean, from millions to 31,000. I mean, this radical acute, look, in science, you can go along with your opinion and your propaganda all over the internet, nuclear energy, this, that. In science, we rely on hard data. First, you hypothesize the knowledge. These are full-blown out nuclear meltdowns. It's going to break the chain. It's going to cause a chain reaction, collapse on the Pacific Ocean. It's going to cause a heat bubble over the Western Ice Age. By the way, I predicted the heat bubble would move and shift, and it did shift. It's in central Canada now. I predicted this drought over. I'm the guy that named the drought before the drought happened in 2011. That's an unarguable fact. You can deny my work all you want. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's been recorded in history. So, in science, first you hypothesize the knowledge, then you do the field work. You have to have field work. They hand out PhDs like toilet paper. They're not PhDs. I mean, it's a fraud. It's a total fraud. So, let's talk about these salmon numbers. We can start on every river and we can work all the way up and down. They're in symphony with each other. Get your soup can out. Should have had it out. Yeah, I should have done a lot of things. One-man band, Blanchism. So, Nagasaki coming up. It's the 8th here. At night, it's 11:02 in Japan on the 9th a.m. It's a horrible nightmare. Remember, for all you religious people, I'll talk about this more tomorrow. Christians lived in hiding in Japan. Where did they all live? Nagasaki. The temple? Yeah. How many were killed that day? Most all of them. So let's talk about the horrible numbers on the Nushgak. In science, there's always a bias, right? We call that a bias. The Chamber of Commerce has a bias. Everybody's got some kind of bias. Well, anymore, it's all about money. It's about the commercial fishing industry. It's about the retail fishing industry. Come fishing. Come fishing. There's always an angle, right? Always an angle. Let's get this right. Sorry. There's always an angle. I want to get as much footage as I can on this historic gutting of the pond. You know, it's so metaphorical. It's been so metaphorical because the first video, the most important video I ever did, standing right here. You know, in early March 2011. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. They're lying. They're lying. They're freaking lying. Don't you let these are full blown out downs. Just remember when they tell you Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass. No, he didn't. Pat Tillman fought off 9 billion. No, he didn't. Jessica Lynch got to crush him out of her valor fight it. No, she didn't. She had to sue Congress to give it back. George W. Bush won the 2011. No, he didn't. Just remember there of 10, 12, 15 years, you're going to look back and say they're lying to you. These are full blown out core meltdowns that are going to genocide the Pacific Ocean. Kevin Blanch, March 11, 12, 13, 14th of 2011. So, the Kenai, those hallowed 100-pound beasts, and this is by number, not by volume. 1,975. Now remember, this is with no fishing. None. There's no fishing. They called it off early this year. None. Now remember, you people say, man, there's an article out saying the Chinook been declined for decades. Wait a minute. There was that drop off 4 decades. They were making an incredible comeback in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have the data. An amazing comeback. So we have the data. Look, remember they go to sea for 5 years on average. They go up to 8. This is important. We can plug in regressionary data because we know steelhead salmon, yeah, they make it all the way. Used to be Redfish Lake here. They go to sea 1 to 2 years. They go twice. First time back, we call them half pounders, right? We count them all. They started to collapse in 2012. Chinook salmon, everybody's arguing with me. They're like, oh, you're crazy, Kevin. You're going, no. I've seen it with my, wait a minute. They go to sea for 5 years. They'll collapse in 2016. Now remember, this is in symphony with just wasting disease on the sea. And I never use the word extinction. I always use the word genocide. I find some ochres. Oh, they're all ground. Yeah, we're finding some. You're finding less than 3%, usually 1%. I said they're down 95%. You're finding these people. Oh, we had 100 eyes on there, and we found 32 on the last one. That's 1% of what you should be finding. That's what I find. My historic work, my type of work. But I did it in real time as it happened. I'm not Johnny come lately after the fact. Look, the Kenai with no fishing, 1,975. Do you know how many there were in 2016? 10 times that. The Fraser, British Columbia. The Columbia, 2.5 miles long, got the biggest drainage, one of them on the face of the planet. Well, the biggest Chinook salmon. They live in the ocean. They don't live in rivers, the pasture. No, it's their home. You can walk all the way. The Nooshkak, Kenai, Nooshkak. I mean, those are important fisheries on the Chinook. These numbers are so catastrophic. The Nooshkak is down 90 to 95% in just the last, since 2015. It started collapsing in 8 years. We can walk all the way. Columbia, the Deschutes, the Rogue, the Jedediah Smith. The Jedediah Smith has no dams. It's in symphony with the rest of them. They're all down between 90 and 95% on their returns on the Chinook. Chinook, big fish eat little fish. They eat anchovies, sardines. Everybody says, oh, the sockeye are much lesser species. Now, stay with me on the sockeye. Oh, we got this record small sockeye photoplankton, zooplankton. Yeah, of course. Algae, they'll eat anything. But remember, this collapse is in symphony with the whales. What? Wait a minute. Where do the grays live? The Bering Sea. They have crashed. Do you know how much plankton a humpback whale and or a gray whale consumes a day? Do you know their numbers are crashed post-Fukushima? Remember when I had my army out there counting? Believe it or not, we counted 311. You cannot make it up. 311 days. My work is not opinion. It was. I hypothesized it, but then I did the film. My tide pool work alone, if I was born 30, 40 years ago, it would be freaking Nobel Prize. My salmon work. All this for Hamlet Cassandra. I mean, you can't argue with it because we have regression. I taught at the #1 school business in the United States. You don't think I know what I'm doing? The #1 business school in there. I went to one of the #1 zoology universities, biology universities. My background's so stoic and so deep, especially in the last decade, down to my own cancer. I've done the work of 1,000 activists, of 1,000 biologists, and I get no credit. I get shit. I get attacked. All great knowledge will be attacked, tortured, vilified. Kevin Blank, March 2011. We have the salmon data, so you can run it into a computer model. You can put it into any computer model. With the start, you can do them separately. You can do them together. You can do them mutually exclusively. The Pacific Ocean is not a bathtub. It's a very incredible, unbelievable, dynamic freaking ecosystem with the fastest rivers in the world. Remember the bridge made it to Gold Beach from Fukushima, Japan in 6-7 days in March of 2011. I'm not talking a walking bridge. I'm talking an automobile overpass. The debris that piled up was there like that. They made the decision to push water. They put water out the whole time. It goes right into the Japanese current. Japanese current's one of the swiftest rivers on earth. Goes right into, right there, Gold Beach, Oregon, splits into the California, up circles Bristol Bay, straight all the way down the coast. We're picking up cesium-137 in FUKUSHIMA in San Diego in the summer of 2011, right before I got cancer. They have, I mean, there's all kinds of data. The KLK data that I have on into the column, 40 kilometers out, freaking 40 miles off, or kilometers off, 200 feet, 1,000 times the background. And that's a KLK study. We've already concluded that it's into the thing. You're in denial. You're in denial. So my work, first off, this is the greatest PhD in human history. I predicted every bit of it, including the heat dome. I'm the guy that predicted 2011. This is going to cause a heat dome over the western United States, or western North America. I named it the Great Western North America Heat Dome in 2011. It's going to cause plutonium fires, I named it. I'm the guy that predicted all the trees would burn. Look, kiddies. Pine trees hold radiation inside their needles. That's why they're evergreen year-round. From the sun, well, they got a little too much. Remember they were blaming on beetles? I'm the first one that was walking the coast. Say, look at the dead trees. You know, I'm walking right on the dead. How about all the dead mirrors when they washed up? I'm the first guy that, how about I predicted? Not predicted, I showed you. Look, you could see the plume. You could physically see it. The blob, they used to call it. I'm the first guy on every bit of this in a hypothesis way. But then I did the field group. I documented it in historical, factual terms. I used a YouTube camera because I had to go rogue. What am I going to do? Stay at the fucking university circles? Go pay to play into the J store? Fuck. What a joke. Academia's a fucking joke. Anybody that's trying to do a traditional, real PhD, you can't use academia. They have control of it. It's called the J store. They have control of your work. The nuclear industry is fucking filtered into all aspects of life. And if you don't believe me, look at the cover up of Fukushima. When Kevin Blanch, a grassroots activist who's full of leukemia, gets freaking classified? What? The son of a Special Forces Marine nuked to death that dies of the atom bomb disease? I've been in critical condition the whole time, and I tracked it down? They physically, YouTube sites, Facebook sites by the dozens with my name on 100% to slander me. And people that have came around here 10, 5, you know, in the last 5 years, 6 years, they don't know what I went through. They have no idea what I went through in 2011, 12, what, 13. I was attacked so viciously, it was unbelievable. I was in a bone marrow transplant. You cannot argue. So we plug the regressionary numbers in. We call that an outlier in science. So we call, as the regression model, we call that deviating from the mean. It will show it by a million. They're like, what? Every regression model you plug in, whether it be the salmon, the starfish, the whales, you split in symphony together. We don't catch dead tadpoles, Kevin Blanch does. We don't catch dead humans in bone marrow transplants, Kevin Blanch does. Everybody used to laugh at me on just the tadpoles alone. Now my work has been 100% verified. My salmon work has been 100% verified. All this historic and incredible. My tree work, my dead mirror salmon, my dead whale work, all of it, the greatest marine biology in human history. And I get shit on it for it. You plug it into a computer model, it deviates from the mean and it's absolutely, positively, unarguable science, including the heat bubble, including the drought, including all this. It points to the outlier happened in 2011. It's unarguable science. Absolutely unarguable science. Absolutely unarguable. So we have to start looking for the culprit. We know something radically happened to the Pacific Ocean and the North American ecology in 2011. We know that unarguably, factually. We know that. Including the drought, all of this, 2011, the great longevity head south, all of it. So what happened in 2011? So radical and so crazy, so new, so different. Did a meteor hit? Did we get 1,000 Exxon Valdez? No. Oh, 3 full core meltdowns. All they did was lie, 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 lie. At least 3, not to mention all the MOX fuel, all the spent fuel pools, 8 spent fuel pools, at least 8 spent, with so much, the loads of spent fuel in there are staggering, including MOX fuel, pushed into the Pacific Ocean. What, you think those tanks cut it all? Then you got, you know, that Tower to Babel, dream on, dreamers, the fairy tale. Little SMI, at the same time the propaganda you spilled through Price Sanders Department of Energy, this is the litmus test. I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a duck, what's a pond? I'm a carpenter, what's a hammer? I'm a plasterer, what's a hawk and trough? I'm a zoologist, I'm a biologist, I'm a freaking scientist. I'm an expert on nuclearism. The ultimate litmus test. What's Fukushima? It's unbelievable. Of course, it's spite that I was ever born. All this historic work, these numbers on the News Shack, oh, whew, again, the CHINOOK are that important. The most, well, first came the god of the Salmon, and the gray whales, and the humpbacks, and we know they're off the planet. How about the big ochre starfish? How about the Upper California purple urchins? Wipe out. Those before and after approaches, UC Davis, those are mine. All that's my work. And I walk in the coast with no money, sleeping in a sleep bag full of cancer. Try it. At historical low tide. Try it. Try it. Not to mention all the work I've done. All these experts show up now because of the Oppenheimer. I love it. The litmus test on nuclearism. And where have they been since Fukushima happened? Where the fuck have they been? Where have they been? They're not an expert. How can they freaking come out and say they're expert when they've denied Fukushima? Which came first, the nuclear chicken or the egg? It's pitiful. It's unbelievable. Well, of course, it's spite that I was ever. I mean, I feel like I live in the Twilight Zone. I mean, it's a lonely battle. I go back to Semmelweis in Vienna, Austria. You know, germ theory guy. He proved it. He did all the work. I ended up just like him. They attacked him so bitch after he even proved it and documented it. They beat him to death, threw him in a rubber room. There's a hospital there named after him. You know? All new knowledge will be attacked viciously, especially when you're up against the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate and their Price Anderson and the Department of Energy pork that flows like the freaking Niagara Falls used to flow. All this, you can chalk it up to coincidence, doesn't get into science. So historically, let it be written in gilded in gold, cast in concrete, freaking for time and all eternity. And we were talking yesterday. I'm like, look, the moon and the ocean, they're like lovers. That's the hottest, most elegant symphony relationship in history. Sometimes they're so in love and they're always in symphony with each other. Other times, she rages against it. Other times, I mean, it's so radical, it's so heated, it's so hot, it's unbelievable. I mean, the two greatest lovers in history, the moon and the ocean. Other times, I remember being there on that really close blood moon close. I'm in Tourmaline. I met this young woman and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "See it? Yeah. Oh my God. I can't ever see a moon like that in my life." I said, "Yeah, you never will. It's the closest moon it's been in literally thousands of years." We're there all night. You know, I was sick too, you know. And it's her night. Whoa, whoa. The tourmaline, the waves come across like this. So kind of like in Carmel Cove, it's so intense there, but it's more smooth and beautiful at tourmaline. So here's the moon, and the ocean is raging. I've never seen the Pacific Ocean at tourmaline going psycho like that. Just going crazy. There's that big freaking moon just pounded, the closest, fullest moon in thousands of years. Here comes the eclipse. She's just raging. She's just on one of them. They come together. The moon goes behind, and she just rages. She just lays down calm. She's all satisfied and happy. And starts to peek back out. She rages. How can you stand by your very own mother? Everybody wants to know how I've survived cancer. It's like both my early doctors always say, Fimbo and freaking Vincent, both say all the time, how are there not literally thousands, if not millions of people running to you, flocking around you, asking you how you've done this? You're the biggest miracle in our career. I have AML de novo OS with a marker of 44. That's absolutely unsurvivable. The type of cancer, beyond less than 1% of 1%. I got in 2011. I've survived it. How? I'll go back to Linda Ronstadt. Poor, poor, pitiful me. Oh, I never did the poor, poor, pitiful me. I never did that. I never played that fucking song. Who's the greatest, most underestimated artist musically in history? Linda Ronstadt. Some of all the Eagles, they take claim for everything. They'll go off a copyright for you if you even use 2 words out of their thing. When they stole everything from her. They stole everything from her. John McGurk. I need a lover that won't drive me crazy. Someone that needs that. Hey, hit the highway. Tell you a song. Linda Ronstadt. Over and over and over and over. Poor, poor, pitiful me. I never did the poor, poor, pitiful me. Never. When a doctor in the prime of your life and I had so much to live for, I was intense. The relationships, everything that I was about. Doctor looks around, get your affairs in order. You got 2 months to live. Just crash. I went from 175 to 130 in a couple weeks. I got down to 119. Burned the pigment out of my eyes. Blisters on my fucking tongue. Devastated me. Fucking wiped out all my fucking stock portfolio that I worked my whole life to build up, including my how many thousands, 30,000 shares of Tesla stock. Before the split, when did IPO? All my Apple stock way back the day. My whole financial kitty that I built up working with a Hawkins trial in my hand my whole life. Gone. Gone. This university could have paid for it. And I didn't do poor, poor, pitiful me. I fought it. I said, okay, that's it. Fuck cancer. I'm going to throw down. I'm going to war with cancer. And I went to war with cancer. And I didn't dogma. I didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm all holistic. I'm anti-modern music. I used both. I was dynamic. That's where the flip of the soup can came from. I mean, all this. I used everything I could that I'd built up into my whole freaking life. It was time. And I fought him with everything. I traveled all over the world, invented the million mass march and things that I've done and everything, and I fought it. I'm like, go toe to toe. Come on. Come on. Come on, cancer. No time I've been cancers went to war, and it's a dirty, rotten opponent. They don't give a shit. It's like the bomb. They'll go after women, children. It's like freaking Hiroshima. They don't care. Cancer doesn't care. But I decided to fight back in a very intense, radical, strong, spiritual way. I fight for her, she fights for me. We, from the sea, the ecology, Kevin D, the Mighty Blue Lady. You stand back and watch your own mother, the Mighty Blue Lady that we all evolved from, be ganged by the freaking nuclear. Not me, not me, not me. I fought back for her with the seals of the whales, sleeping in a sleeping bag on the cliffs of Florida. Freaking feels like heaven. I don't know how I didn't die out there. I had no money, had no support, didn't even have food, no water. I was so fucking wiped out, and I fought back. Alive and kicking. I was given 2 months to live 12 years ago. With no, I've had open heart surgery twice. I've lost my gallbladder. I've had a harvested artery out of my leg. I've had a transplant valve. I lost my teeth. Lost my money. Lost my freaking intimate relationships. But I didn't lose my peace of mind. Like the rest of them did. Fucking greatest PhD in human history. Look at these numbers, and you tell me. Fucking. You tell me. I didn't do poor, poor, pitiful me. I need a lover that won't drive me crazy. Well, I got one. It's called the Pacific Ocean. You know, the ecology. Well, the Pacific Ocean, my mother. Who's my lover? The ecology. She's never betrayed me. She's never turned her back on me. We've been in love since I was born. And I'm not going to defend her? Watch me defend her. Watch me defend her. Oh, you already have. I'll keep fighting. Stay in tune.